Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rising Stories Podcast. I'm Corrine Sandifer, your host. Each week, I interview a business owner or author, and we chat about building businesses. And we talk about working as a boss and learning how to work through the struggles and the successes that come with it all. We share our best tools and our best practices with you. And we also discuss topics that we can all relate to, such as work-life balance, living with intention, and dreaming big. So sit back and relax, grab some wine or some coffee or water, and listen to these women share how they are rising. And I want to make sure that you are connected to Rising Stories Podcast. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button on iTunes to get the latest episodes. Also, the best and fastest way to connect with me is on Instagram or Twitter. If you have a question, go to Twitter and find me at Corrine Sandifer and let me know what you like and what you don't like about the show. I'd love to hear your feedback. You can also find me on Instagram at Corrine Sandifer, and I love to do Insta stories. So make sure you're following me and catch some of those stories. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and my guest today is no stranger to the struggles and challenges of cancer. She has written a book called Lavender Hair that follows her fight against breast cancer and her journey to wholeness. You might know her best from a show called Saturday Night Live. She was part of the SNL cast in 1986 to 1992. She is a comedian, writer, speaker, and now cancer survivor, Victoria Jackson. Victoria and I met a few months ago, and right away I knew she needed to be on my show. Not because she's an author or because she was on SNL, but because she is a woman with so much gusto and tenacity to keep rising in her career even after her cancer diagnosis. Victoria and I talked about how a working woman functions within the context of having cancer and her message to anyone who is faced with this diagnosis. If you are in Nashville this weekend, Victoria will be performing her stand-up comedy show at Zany's on Sunday, October 8th, 2017. By the way, this interview has a first. It's the first time anyone has done any singing on this show. All right, so here is my conversation with Victoria Jackson. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for coming on my show.
You're welcome.
I am super excited to have you because you were on one of my favorite shows. Of course, we're going to talk about the fact that you are Victoria Jackson and that you were on Saturday Night Live, SNL, years ago. But I'm bringing you on the show because you have released a book and now you're releasing another book. And I want to hear more about that.
Well, I always loved writing, and it's one thing you can do when you're alone in a room. You can't do acting. You need lots of other people and things happening and wires and cameras and things. But yeah, so it's a creative release. I also do painting, but I'm really bad at it. But I do it. And so when I got cancer diagnosed in 2015, I was shocked at first, like everybody, and then I just thought, well, I believe in God, and He makes beauty out of ashes, and He could make something good out of this. And I just kept a journal, kind of, I hate that word, diary, whatever. And then when the whole journey was over and I'm healed, praise the Lord, I ran into Michelle Pilar at Frothy Monkey, and Debbie Selby introduced us, and she has a book that just came out called Untangled, and it's really good. You should read it.
Which one? Who does? Michelle does?
Michelle Pilar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Untangled, and it's her autobiography and how the Lord, I hate to say the Lord because, people who aren't Christians, they don't get Christianese, but how God helped her through her life and all of the struggles we all have to go through. And so I said, would your publisher look at my cancer journal? And she said yes. And so the book comes out October 1st. It's called Lavender Hair. Uh, After a song I wrote while I had cancer, had to wear a lot of wigs. Some of them were purple because that's in now.
Did you
If you
lose?
know what?
Yeah. Did you lose all your hair? And did you shave?
Yes.
You shaved.
Well, the second chemo, the first chemo, it was still there. The second chemo, it started to come out in little patches like a wounded dog. And my
Mm.
husband took me to Great Clips where he gets his hair cut. And one night to shave the mangy fuzz off. And then
Oh.
that was the worst part. I didn't really have any pain through the whole thing. That's why cancer is so sneaky because you don't have any symptoms. Didn't have really pain through the whole
How did you
mastectomy.
figure out you had it? How was it
Well,
diagnosed?
it started when I was at Zany's, Nashville,
Which is a comedy
October of
club. Mm-hmm.
yeah 2015, and I was coughing nonstop. I couldn't stop coughing. I was like, oh no, I have to go on stage. What am I gonna do? You can't like tell a joke and then cough on the punchline. So So I start the book there, and then the next day, I somehow I made it through the 45 minutes of talking. I don't know how. The next day, I thought I better go to the doctor, but I didn't really have one because we just moved here, and there's a lot of reasons. My husband's insurance kicked in a year, so I didn't really find one yet, and I went to the walk-in clinic for my cough, and I told the male nurse, I said, I have a numb spot, a little tiny numb spot near my underarm. Is that the lymph nodes fighting off my cough? And he goes, where? And he touched it, and he goes, you're going directly to the Vanderbilt Breast Clinic, where my wife goes. And I was like,
Wow.
goes? Huh? Goes? Like, I didn't know you have to go over and over again. I thought you go, they cut it out, you go home. You go over and over again. And so I really appreciate that. I went back and gave him a thank you note uh, because might have kept growing if it wasn't for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would have never, I mean, you would have known, but it would have been on down the road, right?
Yeah,
If
and then it would have been too late because it would have
more severe.
spread.
Wow. So is your cancer, did it have a name or was it just like, just breast cancer or was it a specific type?
I think my family named it Squiggle or something weird and said, die, Squiggle, die! I forget, but it had some kind of a name like most common ductal 3CB mammary something. It,
Okay.
it spreads in my lymph nodes, so they had to cut all of them out too,
Wow.
which gives you a I'm wearing a lymphedema sleeve because I'm going to the gym to work out, and you're supposed to wear it if you to prevent. This is so boring and horrible. I just
No.
hope someone's listening who's either going through it or who knows
Exactly.
someone.
Yeah. Well, what
And
I
we
want to know about the sleeve. What does it do to your lymph nodes? It helps yours.
it's it's just elastic, and it's like a compression sleeve. It just
Okay.
squeezes your arm. So if I'm working out and water go
Doesn't keep
I
it
don't know.
keeps you from the
It
blood
it well,
flowing?
something like the you'll have to ask an expert. It pushes against the tendency to accumulate pockets of water that would make your arm have painful swelling. But you know what? Thank the Lord I don't have any of that.
That's
And I'm
great.
so grateful. There's a 40% chance that I would have gotten it, and I didn't yet.
Yeah.
So,
And so now you are in remission and you're healthy and it's gone, or
I
yes,
don't
that's
know.
awesome.
He, Dr. Rexer said there's not one more visible cell of cancer in your body. So, I guess it's up to God now because man has done everything they can to to cut it out, burn it out, and poison it out.
Wow. So you're good to go. That's awesome. Congrats.
That's why I'm going to the gym. I'm good to go.
You are. You're good to go. So tell me, so when you got the diagnosis and you were doing that, what did you do with like your career? Did you just put it on hold? What
Oh
happened?
no.
No.
Oh no.
You were still working.
Well, I love, I don't know, performing. So
Mm-hmm.
like nothing stops me. Sometimes I just perform alone in my house. No. Um I I I sang some of my songs that I wrote on my ukulele about cancer. One was called "It's a Broken World, Baby." I sang that at Kimbrough's and around town. I made up the song "Lavender Hair." He sees me as often, not heavy. He hears me as wise and not dull. He thinks that I'm super terrific when I was thinking nothing at all. He sees me as funny, not silly, and graceful as Fred Astaire. And he doesn't notice the gray. He said I have lavender hair. So that's that one.
Yay! I love that
And
song. Love that
so
song.
I performed the yeah. So oh, and then I are you talking about the movie I did while I was bald?
I didn't know about that. You had a you did a movie when you were bald? Did they put a new
Yes,
different wigs on you for the movie?
I I did. First of all, they offered me the part online, and they didn't know I had cancer. I After he gave me the part, I said, "By the way, director, Adam Dufour," I said he lives in Indiana, and it's a movie called Andy's Rainbow. It was written by his son, who's 18 years old. Great movie. I said, I have cancer. Is that going to affect anything? And then I said, oh, and I'm bald. But that shouldn't be a problem because I have a really good wig for this part. And so I wore this curly blonde wig. And the funny part is, I've worn wigs in movies before, so it wasn't that different. Well, I told him, I said, do you think maybe you should write it into the movie that my character has cancer? It would add another level to my
Mm-hmm.
character. And so they added that. And there's one scene where I actually go into my office and take my wig off to scratch my head. Look, my hair grew back. Woohoo! And yeah, and so they wrote it into the movie. So actually, God is so good. He gave me my favorite thing to do while I was bald headed and
A
in
movie.
cancer treatment.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. So you just kept going. So you said you had no pain and yeah.
Well, they have pain pills. For the surgery, there's pain
Mm-hmm.
pills, anti-nausea pills for chemo, and radiation. It burned my skin. There's Aquaphor, and the staff at Vanderbilt are so kind and efficient and professional and loving. And I just, Jesus and those great people at Vanderbilt carried me through.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I want people to be encouraged that when they hear the cancer word, they don't just, give up and just shrivel into a little ball. Because, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to them that love God, and those who are called according to his purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
there's the Bible really has a lot of promises to help you through whatever
Yeah.
struggle you're going through.
What about what encouragement would you give to someone who just got diagnosed and is, what are some things that you did that helped you just put one foot? Sounds like you just kept on going, one foot in front of the other every day.
Well, my friends were very important. They swooped in with love and flowers and cards and homemade pea soup from Debbie Selby and scarves. And I think my friends were so kind, friends and family, Bible verses. Just saturate yourself with Bible verses and worship music. I would lay
Mm-hmm.
in my bed when I had chemo and I was very weak. There's like 2 days a week where I was just so weak I couldn't hardly lift up the TV remote, and I would just play I would repeat Psalm 23 or read the Bible out loud, put my name in the verses, or I would play worship music.
Mm-hmm.
And then Debbie said, watch old movies and spoil yourself and eat ice cream. So,
That sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me what you're doing now. I know that this will probably come out close to when your book will release, and also uh, for those of you who are in Nashville, you're going to be at Zany's. So I've already got my ticket. I'm so excited. So you're going
Aw.
to be at Zany's. What else are you
Yeah.
doing nowadays with, are you going to do a book tour, or are you just continuing with your acting?
Well, I'm doing my stand up again in Huntsville, October 1st, Zany's Huntsville. I'm doing it October 8th, Zany's Nashville. It's a book lunch party. 10 of my friends will be singing and performing there. Paul Aldrich, comedian, singer, and Doug Allen, and Michelle Pillar, and Debbie Selby, and from Point of Grace, Lee Capolino, and her family. Who am I forgetting? And my friend Jim McBurney, and then I'm gonna do my stand up. Uh, I have this idea for a reality show, and I'm working with PureFlix to see if we can make that happen. I just did a sitcom for PureFlix 2 months ago, 4 episodes. It's called Malibu Dan. Waiting to hear what happens with that. So life goes on. Life
Yeah.
goes on. But mostly I'm a grandma and I'm trying to train my new puppy, and that takes all of my energy all day.
Yes. New puppies will suck that up and day and night, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm very grateful because I lost 1 pound running after him and picking up all.
That's funny. That's funny. So, Victoria, what are you a reader? Do you like to read books?
I do love reading. You have to be in the mood because the YouTube is very distracting.
It is.
I love the YouTube.
Yes. I spent a
So,
whole 30 minutes yesterday, just sat down and I was watching one of my favorite ladies on YouTube, Nikki Philippi. She really grabs me. So I totally get that. And you've got stuff on YouTube, right? You've got your
uh,
songs and
oh yeah, I can watch YouTube for 12 hours in a row.
yeah.
I skip around. I'm like, I want to go on a tour of the Holy Land. And then I go to Israel. And then you're like,
Really?
I want to hear Jerry Seinfeld stand up. And then you go here. It's like so much fun. But I do like reading. The best reading is done on airplanes because there's no distractions. But
Yes. What's the last book or what's the book you're reading now or the last book you read?
last book I read, I'm reading a book by Deborah Winger, her autobiography, and I'm also reading Judd Apatow. He's the top comedy producer in Hollywood. He wrote a book about his life. Uh, I'm reading three at the same time. One is about a hillbilly elegy. I just saw the movie The Glass Castle and loved it because I read that book. I loved the book The Glass Castle.
Wasn't it great? When did you
I
read
saw.
that? You've already read it. You had read it
I,
before.
I read it years ago when it came out.
It was a great. What did you think about the movie? Was it good?
I loved the movie. Uh, I saw it 3 times. I took my mom. I took my husband. They left out the part of her in high school eating food out of the garbage can.
I thought about the same scene when I saw the movie. I was like, that was an important and memorable scene. They should have put that in. Sorry, folks,
They,
with spoiler, they didn't put that in. For
yeah, they
those of you who
should have
haven't
put it
seen it,
in
I know they should have
because
put that in.
that really shows how desperately hungry she was and how
Right.
embarrassing it was. And we take for granted we have enough food when we go to high school, and
Hmm.
they should have put that scene in.
And the part where her mom was hiding food, remember that? Her mom
I
kept
don't.
the food away from the kids, and they were like, "What is that under the blanket, Mom?" And she had food and wasn't giving it to them.
I don't
But
remember.
I don't want to spoil the show for the movie for everybody else or the book, but it's a really good book and a really good movie, I thought. So, But yeah, so I'm curious. I'm going to look up the Deborah Winger biography. I like to read biographies. They're very fascinating. So you are in the Nashville area. What is your favorite restaurant around town? It could be in Franklin or Nashville.
Well, my new favorite one is Jason's Deli because I love their salad bar.
They do have an awesome salad bar. Do they still have those pumpkin seed crackers at the end of the salad
Yes,
bar?
that's my favorite.
Mine too.
Corinne, I'm sorry that I'm not looking at you, that I'm looking at me, but I'm trying to get a skinny angle.
Oh, you're
I'm
good.
trying to make my face look skinny.
I love that you are sharing your story so that others can be encouraged. And I love what you said earlier. Again, just don't let it get you down. Just keep going, right? Don't give up and don't
Well,
it.
well, the Bible says, "For me to live is Christ, to die is gain." So it's a
Mhm.
win-win.
It
So
is a win-win.
if you believe in the Jesus and read the Bible, then you can just say, "Hey, it's a win-win. If I die this year, it's even better."
Right, right. Yeah, that's so true, so true. But I love that you're encouraging women, and I think your book will be a great read. I read Is My Bow Too Big? I love that one, so I can't wait for the next one to come out. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Corinne.
I just loved her. She made me laugh so much. And I hated that we lost a little bit of audio there at the end because she is just so darn funny. I can't wait to see her stand-up comedy show, and I want you to make sure that you check out her 2 books out now. Lavender Hair, which is what we've been talking about chronicles her time with breast cancer, and her second book is called Is My Bow Too Big, which is about her life during her time at SNL. So you want to make sure you get both of those, and you can click on the link in the show notes below to purchase them. And if you missed something that you wanted to jot down from this episode, no worries, because I've added a whole lot to the iTunes description on the app. And it's also on my show notes at CorrineSandiford.com under podcast. Please consider supporting Rising Stories podcast by purchasing books and products mentioned on this show with the link provided in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening, and keep rising in your story.